Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. It has been a week with the package that Ted sent me. Thank you so much to Ted for lending me your stuff, the Gaboon and the Vortex V3 to check out. I really appreciate it whenever you trust me, not only to flip your stuff, but also keep it for a relatively long amount of time. Granted, it's a week and a half, but to me it feels like a long time to check it out and make videos on it, so I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ted. Time to talk about my week with the Vortex V3, shall we? I want to start out the video by saying I'm probably going to talk about this thing in my own subjective light in ways that make it seem bad. I want to make it very clear this is a good balisong and I like it. I think it flips very good for the price. My problem is it doesn't feel like a Vortex anymore, you know? And that's good, but it's also bad because you have to modernize and make things more normal at some point. Look at the Prisma Pro versus the Prisma V1. That was a normalization and something that it maintained the Prisma charm, but it felt a little bit more normal. That was a fantastic upgrade. The Vortex, I don't know. I think the new design just leaves me feeling a little bit disappointed that it doesn't feel like it used to. And granted, I'm going to make a lot of comparisons to the V1.5 that I used to own. It has been like over a year since I flipped that thing. So take every comparison I make with a massive grain of salt. But this thing was weird to me because I pulled it out of the box and I knew that NRB had designed this thing to make it more handle biased. Yet it didn't feel more handle biased. The 1.5 felt, almost slightly blade biased back when I flipped it. And this thing, it feels neutral. So I guess by definition, it is slightly more handle biased, but the handles just feel like they don't weigh as much. They feel more empty, or they feel like they're not carrying as much momentum, which I'm not exactly sure why that is, because really the only thing that's changed is the blade. Granted, the blade has changed quite a bit. I'm pretty sure there's more material removed from it, and you went from a tip that was centered to a tip that's now off to the side. So there's a lot of things that could change the balance like that, but it doesn't really make sense to me why it was advertised as more handle biased, and it doesn't feel like the handles are making up or weighing as much as they used to. Now, granted, I realized it had to do with the design change because NRB himself, that was pretty cool, commented on the last video saying like, oh, you're probably feeling that because of the new blade design, which I didn't really think about up until that point. It had crossed my mind, but I guess it had never processed really. But yeah, the V1.5 that I had was something that I liked in my collection. It ended up getting sold because I usually like to buy things that are unique. I usually like things that don't really fill the niche of anything else in my collection. If there's something in my collection I paid my own money for, it's because it fills some niche that nothing else did. The Nemesis has a really unique balance. The Damascus Kraken, well, that one's obvious. The Slift T is an agile live blade that I didn't really have access to. The Prisma Pro, my favorite trainer. Well, besides the Slift T trainer, but the Kraken trainer was consistency. I don't really see a place that the Vortex would fill in my current collection, because the Prisma kind of already filled the original Vortex's position, and I think it still kind of does fulfill the Vortex V3's position for me. In my own opinion, again, this is not objective. We'll get into more objective looking at the V3 in a second. I think the Prisma Pro does what the I think the Prisma V1 does what the Vortex V3 does, just a little bit better. It just feels a little bit better to me. They kind of give the illusion that they're like going for the same balance, but the Prisma Pro just has a little bit more momentum to it. That's just my subjective take on it. Probably not right at all, but let's talk about the Vortex in a bit more of a objective light, shall we? I think this thing flips pretty freaking well for $150 or $125 if you get a blemished one. Especially considering it's $70-$75. I think if you like the design of this, you're looking in that price range, you think you're going to like it, blah, 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 blah. I think it's a fantastic option. It flips very, very well. It's very neutral. I just threw it like behind my desk. That's cool. Sorry, Ted. It feels very neutral. It feels very nice. It does everything that you want it to do. It kind of feels like the Nemesis in the sense that it fans like it's neutral, but it's still, you know, 0 Gs, rollovers, chaplains, as good as something that's handle biased was. The thing being, it's much less pronounced of a handle bias than it is on the Nemesis. So it ends up feeling a lot more neutral at the end of the day, which I really like. I think it feels really good. The grip is just a straight objective upgrade. This texture does a lot to add grip. The bead blast that he used, even as much as I hate to say it, adds a pretty good amount of grip. I think this is bead blast anyway. Could be wrong about that. But the original 1.5, oh my god, man. It was the slipperiest thing in my collection. It had such a grip issue. And this feels more in line with more standard aluminum stuff in the community nowadays. So that's really, really cool to see. I'm very happy to see that change being made. I want to do this. That wasn't good. There we go. Not really, but you know, whatever. I'm working on it. It flips really good. I like it. I love the green. I think the design is okay. The blade isn't my favorite thing in the world, but the Vortex blade never really was. What matters is how it flips and how it looks, and man, I like how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. I think it flips pretty good. My biggest problems just come down to the comfort. This chaplain, it's not the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It just, I think it could be improved a little bit. But honestly, I can't really complain because of how much else was improved. This nipple here is so much less. It hasn't pinched me once. Old NRB stuff used to pinch me there all the time. The grip is so much better. The tolerances are so much better than they used to be on the NRB stuff. So I'm a fan. I think it flips really good. And while it doesn't, I don't really think it has a place in my collection. I think if you're someone who doesn't have or hasn't tried as many Balisongs as I have, this will definitely have a place in yours. I could very much so see someone flipping this thing. I mean, I know Ted loves this thing, and Ted has tried probably more Balisongs than I have. So it really just depends on your preferences. For me, I'm going to go with something like a Prisma, just because I think it does a similar balance profile a little bit better for my taste. But I think it flips very good. It was a very notable improvement in a lot of different ways to the old 1.5, and you know what? I like it a lot. And this green is very nice. Please keep it around, NRB, because I know Glider didn't. You're the closest thing I've got to this Glider green left. And yeah. But now with you working at MachineWise, I don't know the future of these things. So maybe you can clarify in the comments if you're watching this one. Because you commented on the last one. That was pretty cool. Hello. You probably remember me from annoying you about my Nemesis V2 back in the day. But yeah, that's the V3, the Vortex V3. Flips very good. Doesn't excite me as much as I was hoping it would, but honestly, not really a huge deal because I think this is overall a win. Especially, like I said, if you're someone who likes the design or wants a flipping profile like this or something like that. Fantastic price, great build. I like it. I recommend. GG, well played. Thank you again to Ted for sending me the package, checking out your stuff. Really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.